Hi everyone, this is Mr. Book 451 at outlook.com. Dorset Bob, welcoming you to my 8th YouTube video. I haven't done one for a few weeks. I've been very busy, as we all are, cutting hedges, gardening, sorting out the house, buying books. I've actually spent a lot of time over the last few weeks buying books, and sort of neglected my key role, which is to buy books. Now, one of the things that's happened since my last video is that it gets dark a lot earlier. So instead of filming this in the light, I'm filming this in the dark, which means that there's lots of shadows because I'm using artificial light. So I'm sorry about that. What I'll try and do to compensate is I'll try and move the books around a bit so that, the shadows don't they're not constant, if you know what I mean. I'll move them around so that you can see their shadows not fading or whatever. Please remember, everything you see in this video, all the books are for sale. I never show you books that are not for sale on this channel. And this is sort of, I had loads of plans for Halloween. I've got loads of ghost, horror, really good stuff. And it just hasn't come off because just of a lack of time. Didn't get my act together really. But one thing I wanted to do was a Hugh Lamb special. So these are all books edited by Hugh Lamb, who, as many of you will know if you're into the ghost horror genre, was one of the key editors in Britain in sort of the 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe not 60s actually, 70s, 80s, 90s. Sadly passed away a little time ago. I did have a chance to meet him at one of the October paperback shows, which was really fun. He was such a lovely guy, and got to buy a few bits and pieces from him then. But most of this stuff has come from a different source, as you will discover as we go through. Now, because of where I store my books, they're all wrapped, because if you store things without central heating, the wrappers will wrinkle. So in order to prevent them from wrinkling, often I cover them. Not always, but I cover them. Now, when I cover them with inert plastic covering. I think it's called polypropylene or polyurethane. I can't remember now. But it's not stuck to the book. So it's just covers the wrapper to prevent nicks and tears developing and all this, and gives it a bit of longevity, but it doesn't adhere to the actual wrapper. But then I do put them in these polypropylene bags, and the reason is, as I say, because they're stored somewhere that has no heating, so I don't want the dust wrapper wrinkling, which has that tendency to do, mainly because the dampness gets in the back of the wrapper, and because often the wrappers have a kind of laminate on the front, a laminate or a varnish. It seals the front, but it doesn't seal the back, so the moisture gets in the back, can't escape, and therefore it wrinkles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these. I'm going to go through them and take them out of the bags, because I've got to remember which bag fits which book, so I don't have to go through all that again. So what I'm going to do, just forgive me, is I'm going to move these over here, and then I'm going to go through them. And I'm actually standing up at the moment so I can get a nice central position for the book. So this is Gaslit Nightmares, an anthology of Victorian tales of terror, MacDonald. Now, a lot of the books that Hugh Lamb edited were bought by libraries. They were library books, and therefore to get a copy that's not ex-library is actually quite unusual. So this has come from the collection of Mick Sims and is inscribed to Mick Sims. There we are. From Hugh Lamb, November 97. I'll show you the contents. MacDonald printed their books in this period on really terrible paper, which has a tendency to go brown very easily and very quickly. So again, another good reason for placing it in an acid-free bag. So there we are. And that is a very scarce book actually in that sort of condition. What did I have? I had £80 on that book. So that is £80. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that with its bag over there. Now, another one that's kind of very, very nice. And as I say, I apologise for unbagging these as we're doing it, but otherwise I'd lose track of which book was to go in which bag. And I want to show you I'm looking after the books as best I can. So this is, I think, quite an unusual book because this is an Methuen, however you say it, Methuen. These were books that were paperbacks but had a hardcover. And what they did, I'm pretty sure, was they just used the paperbacks and bound them in hardcovers. They did it with Philip K. Dicks. There were two Philip K. Dicks. They did The Man Who Japed and The Simulacra. And that's basically what it is. So it's a paperback, but they produced just a few, because it's paperback size, a few, but they put them in these hardcovers. And again, most of these would have gone to libraries. The paper quality is poor, so you've got the usual tanning outside. There we are, signed by Hugh Lamb. And that again is, I think, a pretty scarce book. Did I show you the contents page? Let me just give you the contents page, just so you know what's in it. There we go. And he was an editor that really took time and effort and trouble to find those unusual stories. He was a devotee of the genre. A lot of people who knew him speak very highly of him. As I say, I only met him once, maybe twice. So I couldn't really claim to have known him, but a lot of people who did know him spoke very highly of him. So there we are. That's not a book you're going to find very easily, by the way. Especially not in that sort of condition and not signed. There we go. So that's the second one. Here we go. The Thrill of Horror. 22 terrifying tales. This one is £45, and this is again inscribed to Mick Sims, who, as you may know, Mick Sims was one half of the Maynard and Sims writing duo. Len Maynard sadly passed away last November, so roughly a year ago, and Mick got in touch and said, would you like to buy Len's collection? And I did. And then he said, look, I've basically not going to be writing a lot anymore. I'm going to sell my collection. He sold me his collection as well. Inscribed to Mick Sims. There we are. Lovely. There we are. Lovely inscription from Hugh Lamb. 97. Really nice association copy. This is an American edition. $8.50. The Thrill of Horror. There we are, like 1975. So it's going to be early. Again, I've covered it, so don't worry that I've put this on the back. That is stuck to the plastic covering, not the actual book. And there is the contents. And yeah, this is kind of good condition. It's got problems with the dust wrapper in places. You know, it's okay. It's okay. It's got some, you know, damage there, some wear. But it's kind of okay. It is what it is. And it's £45. I mean, the problem that, as I see it with this genre, is there are a lot of people who are really interested in ghost and horror. And unfortunately, they're all chasing books which, in a way, don't exist. Because at the time, that genre wasn't kind of terribly highly thought of. And, well, it was thought of by readers, but not by collectors. So there's all these books being published that the collectors never bought. You know, yeah, some did, but many didn't. And, you know, there were science fiction and fantasy collectors out there, but they maybe didn't buy the anthologies. And therefore, a lot of these were just as library books, produced as library books. This one I've got £30 on. This is, again, Return from the Grave, edited by Hugh Lamb. There we go, look. To Michael Sims, not even Mick Sims, but Michael Sims. Best wishes, Hugh Lamb 97. And this is actually from a literary agency. So it's been price clipped at the top of the wrapper, which is a good sign, because obviously if it's a price clipped at the bottom, with American books, that normally means it's a book club. Because in America, the publishers put their price at the top and BCA or book club edition at the bottom. So if you get it clipped to the bottom, it's a book club, not a book club. Let's have a look what's in it. Yeah, that should be in red, probably. There we are, look. Printed in Great Britain, but first published in the United States, so it's got the United States thing of having the thing up the top. In Britain, we put them down the bottom normally. There we are, acknowledgements, Hugh Lamb, what have we got here? Let's have a look. Edit this forward. I was looking for the contents page. Oh, there we are. There we are. Show the contents page so that you can see who's in it. If there are people you fancy. It's just another one of those classic anthologies that are becoming so collectible. So again, you know, nice, tight, crisp copy, really. I'd say sort of VG overall. You know, pretty good. And as I say, there's £30 on that one. So I'll put that back in its bag. Forgive me if I'm popping them back in the bag while I'm doing the video rather than afterwards. But I know that afterwards, I probably won't remember which one goes in which bag. So it's probably more sensible to do it as we go along. There we go. I do like to take care of nice books, and it's not just about the care when they're in my possession, but when I send books, I do make a point of wrapping them in card, you know, and protecting them, bubble wrap and whatever, because there's nothing worse than ordering a book and then, you know, a nice book in nice condition, and then finding it's got, you know, bumped or damaged on the way. It's so annoying. And I find that annoying as a punter. So obviously, as a seller, when I'm doing it, I'm thinking, no, I don't want that to happen. So I make sure the books are wrapped and will withstand the journey. This is A Tide of Terror by Hugh Lamb, published by W.H. Allen. Again, a classic British Library acquisition. This is £75. This is a again, a pretty nice copy, VG. I'm trying to show you all aspects. It is price clipped. Does have a bit of aging wear to the top, as you would expect. Boards are quite nice inside. Nice and bright and clean, crisp. Not too much wear on the spine ends there. Too much bruising. Just make sure I can get that in the camera. Good. And interior wise, not too bad. And again, you know, 90% of these would not have found their way into circulation. There we are, 1972, so an early one. And there's the contents. You had a quick look. Okay, Tide of Terror, W. Challen, £75. Now, obviously, the prices that I quote in these videos are before we've factored in the postage. Now, what I would say is that I have, as a result of these videos, and by the way, if you look at some of the ones I've done before, if you haven't already seen them, there's still a lot of stuff available. But as a result of these videos, I've got a number of people in, for example, Europe, Canada, America, Australia, that are ordering from me. And one of the things that we're working on together is that I'll quote them airmail, and if you want to pay the airmail, you pay the airmail. It's getting quite expensive now to Australia especially, and to America. But with America, I can send surface 2 kilos, which is, let's say, 3 or 4 of these books, maybe 3, and it's going to cost about £16. So 2 kilos is about £16 to the States. Unfortunately, they've stopped the surface to Australia, so you've got to send airmail. But they're still allowing it to the US. Now, they call it economy, and they say, oh, it's going to take 6 or 8 weeks. Well, that's not our experience. The people I've been working with in the States, our experience is that actually it's taking more like 2 to 3 weeks. So my guess is they're saying that it's going to go surface, and actually they just stick it on a plane with the rest of the airmail. Excuse me a minute. Boone, what are you doing? You can't come up here. No, you are not coming up here because there's books and you've got muddy feet. It's all right, it's Boone. He's my cat. And he wants to come and get involved. But if he jumps up here, I'm going to have to say that he shouldn't be up here, because although I love him dearly, and cats obviously go with books perfectly. By the way, this one is £25. If he's just been outside and it's a little bit damp outside, he's going to have muddy feet. There we are, A Taste of Fear. Perfect look for Halloween, A Taste of Fear, edited by Hugh Lamb. Look, not price clip, this one. Just a little bit of aging at the top of the wrapper. A little bit of aging to the edges, you know, they didn't use great paper. I was actually chatting to somebody the other day about this, and I was saying how Tor in the States moved to acid-free paper specifically because the library service said, we're not taking your books unless they're acid-free. I wish the libraries in Britain had done the same. Look, there we are. Look, nice to see John Blackburn. Have a story in there, Ramsey Campbell. Dave Sutton. Hello, Dave, if you're watching, I hope you are. He's still around. And used to see Dave at the fancy cons I used to go to. There we are, Michael Sims. Lovely. Look at that. William Hope Hodgson followed by Michael Sims. Isn't that lovely? Terrific. Look at that. Beautiful. It's not a bad copy. That's not a bad copy. Honestly. That's about, you know. I'm going to call that VGVG. But I don't think you're going to find a lot better than that very often. You wait a long time to find a lot better than that. There we go. So we'll pop that one back in his bag. Talking of bags, don't forget, I do sell the paperback bags, and I've just got the digest ones in from BCW in the States. They're the proper polypropylene, inert, you know, acid-free, blah de blah, proper archival jobs, as are these. Try and get this without wrecking the tape. There we are. 75 on this one. W.H. Allen again. Yeah, now this is a very, very interesting book. The Man-Wolf and Other Horrors. I mean, a lot of these obviously had paperback incarnations, often by W.H. Allen. Sphere did a lot, Panther, etc., etc. But when you get one of these nice hardcovers, it's just got a slight bit of spine lean and a slight problem there on the text block. A bit of aging, but a little bit of spottings just starting over there. Again, I've put it in one of these inert wrappers just to protect it. Little dink on the back. So it's kind of good to very good. It's not price clipped. It's showing a little bit of age. Let me show you the casing on there. There we are. Nice and bright, crisp, as you would expect if it's been protected by a wrapper for that long. The Man-Wolf and Other Horrors, Hugh Lamb, 1978. There's the copyright statement. To John and Joan Blackman. How about that? He obviously knew John Blackman, who is one of the authors that I love, and I have all his hardcovers in my collection, and have really enjoyed them. They're kind of sometimes horror weird, but usually detective espionage. But one of those writers that just was eminently readable. Frederick Cowles. Hugh Lamb loved Frederick Cowles. Features in a lot of these. There's a very classic lineup. There we are. Isn't that lovely? Just a little bit of turning around the edges, but again, nothing that you wouldn't expect with a book like that. Wonderful cover art. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cover art. Look at that. Okay, I'll just tilt it in case I'm getting that glare from the lights, because I've put these artificial lights on because we don't have that lovely summer natural light. It is 2 days before Halloween. So I had all these plans for Halloween. I have actually got dozens of ash tree press, including some very, very scarce early ash tree press that I was going to put up. Some nice paperbacks, all this and all this and all this. And I just run out of time. I've just been doing so many other things that unfortunately I just run out of time. But I was determined to make at least one video for Halloween. Here we are, Terror by Gaslight, Constable. Just got a little bit of fading there, but not too bad. If I just turn that, that's the way the red should look. So it's just got a little bit pink. This one is £60. This is, again, an inscribed copy from Mick Sims' collection. So an association copy. I mean, if you don't know Maynard and Sims, go and investigate. They wrote some amazing stuff. They were a writing duo focusing on sort of classic British ghost stories, the sort of M.R. James kind of tradition, but you know, not exclusively that. So wrote some really good detective kind of thriller type stuff. Well worth investigating. There we are. So, not price clipped. Nice and crisp inside. Let me show you the casing there. Beautifully crisp. Look at that. Just a little bit of a bumping to the head and heel, which you kind of almost expect. There is, look, a little tiny close tear there in the wrapper. Whoops, let me pull that around. Oh, I'm gonna stiff back doing this. I've been cutting hedges all morning and all afternoon, and my back is complaining. Look at that. What a lovely inscription there from the editor. To Mick Sims, master of the DVD copy, thanks for the films. Here's to piracy. Whoops. 2005 from Hugh Lamb. Yeah, lovely. So if you want a really nice copy of a very scarce book, and also with that beautiful association and that lovely warm inscription, you know, I mean, I like making these videos, and the reason I like making these videos is I like to offer things that are a little bit unusual that other people don't have. And, you know, there's people on eBay selling kind of ex-library, beaten up copies of these things and saying, oh, very rare, 100 quid, you know. And you think, oh, for God's sake, you know, yes, they're rare, but who wants to buy them if they're all, you know, beaten up and been through the library service 10 times? I mean, there are exceptions, obviously. In my collection, I do have one or two ex-library copies. Okay, look, what's this? Terror by Gaslight. More Victorian Tales of Terror. Hugh Lamb. This is £60. Warmly inscribed to Mick Sims. Oops, sorry, just move it forward. Losing my bearings with that light. There we are. November 97. It's got that aging around the edge. It's not price clipped, so in America they always put the price at the top. Good. A little bit of aging along that top edge, but nice linen, nice condition linen. There we are. Look at that. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's have a look and see if we can find any tears. Little blemishes on the back, but no closed tears. Just get that little card. Again, I've covered this, so don't worry, I'm not attaching this to the dust wrapper. That is attached to the plastic. Let me just show you who's in that. So what we've got, more Victorian Tales of Terror. 1976, US. And there we are. There's your listing. Some unusual names there. Yeah, lovely. Okay, good. Right, I'm going to save a little bit of time, so I'm not going to put that back in its bag. I'll put that back in its bag later. I've got two more. I'll try and do this so that I'll have to retape these bags. This one's £150, so this one is a very scarce book. A Wave of Fear. This is W.H. Allen. It's a VG. Again, not price clipped. A little bit of aging, just showing up, which you would expect for a book this old. I mean, let's face it. Again, just a little bit of bruising, head and a heel there, but nice bright gilt. No creasing on the case. No marking on the boards. No aging, particularly on the front preamp paper there. And then we move to the actual book, 1973. One of the very early anthologies. And there we are, there's the listing of the authors and their stories. Okay, just have a look at that. So, you know, I think that is certainly VG. I wouldn't call it near fine, but it's VG. It's not a bad copy at all. And that is a very scarce book. You won't find many of those floating around. And again, although that one is not signed to Mick Sims, that is from Mick Sims' collection. So there is that kind of looser provenance. I know that people say, oh, well, when you buy something from a dealer, you know, dealer can say whatever he likes. But, you know, I like to think I've got a little bit of integrity, and that came from Mick Sims, as did this one. And this is £50. This is Cold Fear. This is the last book I've got to show you. Cold Fear, New Tales of Terror. And a terrific cover. I'm just going to leave it like that because I'm looking at the picture on my phone that's on a tripod and it's not showing any particular what am I talking about? Glare. There we are. So again, not too bad. A little bit of wear. Let's get it out of the bag. So I'm gonna try and do another video on Thursday actually on the back of this. The thing with a lot of the Ashtray Press books I've got is some of them are very, very, very scarce and very rare. And I'm probably going to do an individual video on them because if I do a 5-minute video on each book and just put it up, when they sell, I can just take the book away. So what I tend to do with my videos is, there was one I did on a Dracula, it was like a graphic novel that New English Library produced. And because it sold, the set sold, I took the video down. So what I'm going to do in the future is I'm looking to do videos on really key books, you know, really nice books. And when they've sold, I just take the video down. So if you know, if the video's up, you know it hasn't sold. The problem when I do videos like this with 10 or 12 books is you don't know whether they sold or not. So what tends to happen is I tend to get like a little flurry of orders, usually about a third sells really quickly, and then it all goes quiet. So if you're seeing this video in, you know, 6 months or even a year's time from when it was first published, don't worry, because some of these are probably still available. You know, I don't, at the moment, I'm not selling on Amazon. I'm not selling on ABE or Biblio. I'm not selling on YouTube. YouTube, of course I'm selling on YouTube. I'm not selling on eBay, although, because it's now free, I am starting to think about that. But it'll only be for kind of cheap stuff. But the better books, I'm only putting up on YouTube because I think, you know, if you're going to pay a reasonable amount of money, this is 50 quid, you don't want to pay 50 quid for a book, you want to see it. You want to see, you know, you want to see that it's not price clipped. You want to see the boards. You want to see the inside of the wrapper. There we are. Look, nice and bright and crisp. Yeah, the tiniest little, they're not bumps, there's actually just a little bit of fading at that bottom, on that bottom corner there of the spine. But, you know, there's a bit of aging, of course there is, there's bound to be. But that's about as good as it gets. There's no library stamps. I mean, for crying out loud, there's nothing like that on there. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do. My better stock, and I mean, I have got some amazing things. and things that are coming out of my collection, they're all going to go on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe, because you'll get, you know, and set it so that you get alerted when I put a new video up, because then you get first dibs. I've got people who wait for these videos and they're literally looking at them almost as soon as I've uploaded them, because they're getting wind of it and they're thinking, oh, right, have a look. And I used to do that with catalogues. I mean, when a catalogue was sent to me in the old days, you know, the printed catalogues, when a printed catalogue came through on a Saturday morning, I'd get my cup of tea and look through it, and I'd be phoning up, you know, I'd be phoning up to say, this is what I want this one, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. Anyway, there we go. That's my Hugh Lamb. Please don't forget that I will be selling paperbacks, pulps, and a few other bits and bobs at the London show on the 24th of November. So if you're planning to come along, do say hello. I am Dorset Bob. A lot of people say, hey, Dorset Bob. Okay, yeah, I'm Dorset Bob. There's a lot of Bobs in Dorset, but I am Dorset Bob. Okay, I'm Mr. Book 451. So it's Mr. MR, not Mr. as in MISTER, but MR Book 451, obviously because of Fahrenheit 451. Mr. Book 451 at outlook.com. And remember, you never regret the books you buy, only the ones you didn't. See you soon. Cheers. Bye.
Pages turn like magic, stories pull us in. Rocket ships and lasers, where dreams all begin. Dystopia and wonder, heroes rise to fight. In the world of fiction, we see the light. Mr. Book 451, selling dreams one by one. Science fiction tales under the sun. Alien invasions, journeys through time. Mysteries unfolding, words in perfect rhyme. Galaxies and planets, futures to explore. With every book we open, we discover more. In